Israel's under a lot of pressure, right? What happens after the war in Gaza is over? What happens the day after? And everybody's telling Israel, look, you can't eradicate Hamas, you cannot eradicate their ideology, you cannot wipe them off the face of the earth, they're gonna be there, there's nothing you can do, right? So you kind of like have to accept that reality, and you have to have a ceasefire. What happens the day after, Mosab? Because Israel's gonna finish this war, they have to. It's an existential problem. And what happens the day after? If the Palestinian Authority cannot govern, and of course Hamas cannot govern, what's the future of the Palestinians?
Maybe we don't want Palestinians in the future.
Well,
and again, listen, when I say this, by the way, when I say this doesn't mean I'm not calling for ethnic cleansing, you know, because Palestinians, there is no such thing as Palestine. It's not a race.
I understand.
Okay, that's number one. It's an ideology. It's an ideology. So, for example, Egypt, in the past century, they dealt with the Muslim Brotherhood by the lethal force. And they were able to eradicate the Muslim Brotherhood. And every time they rise, they just crushed them. Because when you have very dangerous ideology like that, that is out there to hunt and kill and loot and kidnap people and kidnap infants, blackmail the whole globe, then this is a big problem. We cannot tolerate this type of ideology. And this is, by the way, Palestine. Yasser Arafat was a Muslim Brotherhood affiliate. Hamas is a Muslim Brotherhood. Al-Qaeda was inspired by the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is still a legal organization in the United States. Even though in Egypt, the birthplace of the Muslim Brotherhood been outlawed, the United States of America or the US Congress failed 3 attempts to outlaw the Muslim Brotherhood. In fact, they allow them into Congress, on Capitol Hill, in the US government. They consult with them, they hire them as advisors to just mislead the American naive politicians, and they've been working. So now, you ask me about back to Gaza, if it's possible. It is possible, and this is what we are doing right now, and we had no other choice but the lethal force, and the lethal force works. Now, we won't be able to eradicate evil completely, but we can bring it to the, from a wild tree to a seed. But the seed will always be there. And if we don't keep watching, then it's gonna grow again, and it's gonna be brutal. Some 100 years ago, it was the rise of the Nazis. It became appealing to the masses, and with no time, like a wildfire, Nazism took over in 5 years. And this is why I'm outrageous, because what's happening right now, what's so-called Palestine, is the new Nazis. It's a very serious problem, and it's not only in Gaza, it's global. So the world must be united. Civilized people, any human with consciousness must get on board in this fight. Because it's not only in Gaza. Have we forgot about Lebanon, where the situation is boiling up north? Iran, we still have another big problem, the Islamic problem. So, not to forget Europe. So we could be at the verge, of a global chaos. And I think the world is inviting violence. Many people want the violence. They want revolution, they want chaos, they want global intifada. And this is why I've been saying from day one, don't globalize it. Localize it, keep it in Gaza. What happened in October 7 cannot be just forgotten. And I'm speaking from a security point of view. As someone who was operating on the ground on a regular basis for 10 years, I knew that Israel has no choice. You know, people yesterday say, oh, 200 people civilians got killed, and of course it's Hamas statistics, for the rescuing the 4 hostages. And they were upset, they were so sad. Naturally, any human being with consciousness would celebrate yesterday. But the pro-Palestine were saddened yesterday for the rescue of the hostages. And we tell them what's the alternative. Then they come, say, diplomacy. What diplomacy? They want to release mass murderers like Sinwar. They want thousands of Sinwar model on the streets, back on the streets. In what law? So, all those who are calling for diplomacy, ceasefire now, they want Hamas to stay in power, using Hamas propaganda, they want Israel to surrender. And this was Hamas' tactic from day one. They committed genocide on October 7. Then they wanted Israel to surrender on October 8th by taking the hostages. This is their tactic. And this is why, and this was my message to the hostage families when I sat down with them. Lift the pressure of the Israeli government. They don't have the hostages, they don't have your children. And redirect the pressure on Hamas and all the foreign entities that given legitimacy to Palestine for free, with nothing in return. Spain, Norway, they could have said, we might recognize a Palestinian state, but give us the hostages back. Make one condition. So it's not Gaza only. It's not Gaza only. We are dealing with a phenomenon. And the Palestinian syndrome, this needs to be studied, need to be addressed, not only on a political and other levels, most importantly, psychological level. Why all these people identify with Palestine? Why it's not a race? It's not an ethnic group. It's not a distinct language. It's a colonial entity. Whether you know the Romans empowered it or the British empowered it, whatever it is, just it's a hostile state. So we need to educate the people on the origins of this, and I'm afraid that it is not going to end in Gaza. It is going to drag, and violence is going to spread. It could reach the United States. All what's happening, by the way, I'm not here to trade in fear or to scare you guys, but this crowd that protesting for Palestine today, tomorrow they will have an angry cause. They will always find an angry cause. And among us, people who are pro-violence, pro-disorder. So expect more of this. What's happening today is only indication. And this is why I invite many Americans to actually stand with Israel today. Because if we don't leash those unconscious people on the streets, then tomorrow they will come back 10 times stronger.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Djobnik signing off.